is by reading His Word. And I'm telling you, it's the only thing that's going to set me free. You know, and a lot of it, like I said it before, there's a lot of big words in there I don't understand. And when I go to the dictionary, the dictionary's got big words and I don't understand. And next thing I know, I lost what the original word was because I keep searching words and words and words. But I know it's only me. Nobody else. But I know He's going after one thing and one thing only, and that's for a pure heart. You might not understand each and every word that He says, but if you go at it with a humble and pure heart, God is going to fill it. He's going to bring understanding. He's going to bring Him to you. I believe it. I believe it. I'm not crazy enough that I believe it. I have good examples. I have good examples that it works. How do you know it works? Look around. Look around. Look around. Look around. Seriously, look around. You cannot make this stuff up. You can't make this up. Kathy, you can't. And it comes down to one thing. If you could, then flesh can boast in it. That look at what I did. I'm trying not to yell. Seriously. I'm trying not to yell. I don't want to yell. I don't want to get too loud. But there's something inside of me who's just saying, there ain't nothing in this life that's going to satisfy. Absolutely nothing. Because you know what? When it's all said and done, Uncle Danny, the testator, when we die, guess what? What are you going to leave? What are you going to leave? What are you going to leave? I'm leaving my kids. I'm leaving my wife. But most of all, I want to believe the thing that God placed inside of me, that it is imparted into them, that they can go to the next level, that they don't have to keep rolling around in the same dust realm over and over and over and over again. Hey, I seen what Daddy did. You know what? I could pick apart what my daddy did. It's easy to pick apart the flesh. But I'm telling you what, the thing of the Spirit, the thing that was in him, the thing that kept him alive, the thing that's keeping him alive now is that Spirit. And I'm telling you, you cannot pick that thing apart. And it's the only thing that brings life.
That's right, amen. Yes, sir.
Hey, 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 it's good. It is good. I don't care. I really don't. I really don't care, because I'm telling you what, I really never ever liked Christmas because I didn't like giving gifts. I didn't want to go through the pain and the hassle of going somewhere and buying and doing and running and running and running and doing all that stuff. Now they made it so easy, I don't even have to get off the chair. I can click. And I'm so lazy I don't even click. Now I have my daughter do it for me. I can't be bothered with that stuff, but no, that ain't the reason. But now I'm starting to see, you know how much He loved us? Do you understand how much God really loved us? They sing a song now, Mary, did you know? Did you know her? Did you ever just sit and listen to the words? My God, you just sit and listen to the words. Mary, when you were kissing His face, and the Bible says no man sees God and lives, and she was literally kissing His face. had this, they were singing. First of all, I want to thank everybody who came out last night. I want to thank everybody who came out. My mom said something to me. She goes, and I go, and she's smiling, and I knew what she said. There were 7 kids. And my spirit, my mind was already thinking, it's the 3rd generation. I sat up here, I seen Luke and Peter of the 2nd generation teaching the 3rd generation how to move on. And when we started out, we never thought we would make it past that generation. But we're on to the 3rd generation. Hey, it won't be too long before the 4th. And God promised my father. He promised my father he's going to see to the 3rd and the 4th generation. And guess what? He's seeing beyond that. So I want to thank everybody. But when she was sitting there, when they were singing that song last night, Mary, did you know? And I heard it. We've all heard the song before. And we all sang it. And we all believe it. But literally it hit me. It was like a light switch what got turned on. She was literally kissing God in the flesh, on the face. And I had this epiphany of my mother holding me through the trials and the testings that we went through to get to that point, that she was holding me. And I ain't boasting about me, but there was a purpose. The same purpose what Jesus had. Oh my God, you got to hear it. The same purpose what God had inside of me, had inside of him. That, you know what? Your mother's going to kiss you. And guess what, folks? He's not just a baby no more. We're not babies no more. He's growing us up. Because why? Because we're great conquerors. We're great conquerors. Can't be a conqueror if you don't go through the trials and the testings. We don't like trials and testings, but you want to know something? Guess what? The 3 wise men brought them. We like the frankincense. We like the oil. But we surely don't like the myrrh. But you got to have all the ingredients to have the oil. But you know what? We got hope. We have hope. We got hope. Because this present time, this suffering, we're not suffering no longer. Hey, things what used to take. We can get into Saul. You want to get into Saul? He did one screw up and God ripped the kingdom away from one screw up. I said it before. Guess what? The flesh did one thing and guess what? God ripped it out. You want to go back to the beginning? We can go back to the beginning. Oh. He's really screwing me up. He really is. Not in a bad way. He's not. A good renovation, you got to always get down to the bones. And the house is built with good bones. There might be some rot in there. You might have to rip it out. Brother Ed, this is your fault. You got into that renovation stuff. But seriously, if you let him do his job. He said, I've come to give you life. I didn't come to give you death. I come to give you life. So don't worry about the sufferings. Don't worry about the things that you're going through. Don't worry about this. Set your mind on things above, not on things in this earth, not as the things that are in this earth. Don't set your mind on these things. Set your mind higher than where you're at right now. Brother Ed, reckon that old man dead. Every morning when you get up, I don't have to get up and say, hey, Stephen, you're saved. You know that today? No, you got to reckon that old man dead. In every aspect of our life, reckon him dead. Because if you don't, the end of that thought. The extreme end of it is death. We don't think so. Really? And now you're going to go down there. Stay off that road. Seriously, I'm messed up, and I don't want to. So now we're down to the flesh man, his first final thing. And really, I don't want to talk about the failures of Saul. I really don't. I don't. Because we can all relate. And God don't want us to keep relating, because that old man is dead. But this is amazing. 1 Samuel 13, verse 8. I'm going to read this out of the ISV, International Standard Version. But Uncle Danny, this is amazing. We got 1 Samuel. So first, you got to hear 13, we're going to go to the extremes, and 8, it can be a new day if you want. I don't think it's coincidence that it came out this way, but hey, God can do whatever he wants. He's God, right? Right? Saul waited 7 days. Seven days. They're telling us that we're in the 7th day. Okay? True? Yes? All right, whatever. So Saul waited 7 days for the appointment set by Samuel. So if you go back to 10, I think it was, I do have it, really. It was chapter 10, verse 8. Remember when Samuel and Saul had a meeting? He said, go up there, go to Gilgal, wait 7 days, and I'll be there. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen and what you're going to do. Remember? We already did that? So Saul started out right, he went and he waited. And Samuel came and did. And everything that Samuel said to him took place after that. And then I started thinking, oh my gosh. If somebody came up to me and told me everything what's going to happen in the future, and it comes to pass, why would I hesitate that he's not going to come when he said he's going to come?
That's right.
Jesus said it. I'm coming. I've came, I'm coming, and I'll always come. He's the ever-coming one. I got this walk thing going today, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I know one thing, my heart is like... Saul waited 7 days for the appointment set by Samuel. When Samuel did not arrive at Gilgal, as the people began to scatter from Saul. I'm going to read this whole thing, and seriously, we got to listen. Listen to what everything what he says. Saul said, "Bring the burnt offerings and the peace offerings to me." And he offered the burnt offerings. Just as he finished offering the burnt offerings, guess what? God showed up. Isn't that what it was all about? Isn't that what the peace and the burnt offering is all about? Is for God to show up? He showed up. He just showed up in a way that, never mind. We didn't think he would show up. Just as he finished the burnt offering, Samuel arrived, and Saul went out to meet him and to greet him. He went out to give him a blessing. Hey, blessed is the man of God. Just as and Samuel said, "What have you done?" Oh, my Lord. I told you, he's really getting me. Give me a second. Genesis 3:1. Now, the shining one was more clever than any animal of the field. And the Lord God had made, and had asked the woman, "Did God actually say, 'Are you not to eat from the tree of the garden?'" "We may eat from the trees of the garden," the woman answered the serpent. "But as for the fruit of the tree that is in the middle of the garden, God has said, 'You are not to eat of it, nor are you to touch it, or you will die.'" You certainly will not die, the shining one told the woman. Even God knows that on the day that you eat of it, your eyes will be open and you'll become like God, knowing good and evil. Isn't that what we want to know? We want to know everything about good and evil. We want to know what's right, what's wrong. We want to know what to do, what not to do. We want to know how to do everything, but we don't want to live. He never told them you couldn't eat of the tree of life. He just told them don't eat of that tree. I wonder if that tree didn't look so good, the tree of life. We always said it looks like the cross. It was the cross, and we know that it probably is, but I'm going to tell you what, we got to see past the cross. It's just like we got to see past that he's just a baby. He's not a baby. He's grown up. He's a conqueror. He's overcome everything. And he's called us to overcome everything. And he knew, see, this is the whole thing. It started all the way back here. Even before that, he knew that, hey, the flesh couldn't do it. He knew that the flesh couldn't overcome. But he already had it prepared. Isn't that like God? He's just preparing us. He's preparing you. I don't like the preparing. See, the other word is too hard for me to say, so I'm going to say a word I can say without tripping over my lips. I don't like the preparing. I don't like to prepare. You know why? It takes effort. And you know, never mind. This is my thought for me. The more you read, the more you're accountable for what you read. And I really believe that's why most of us don't read. Most of me, that's why I don't read enough, is because I don't like being accountable for what I read. But that's for me. And the woman saw the tree of that, and when the woman saw that the tree produce was good, food, was attracted in appearance, and was desired for making one wise, she took from it its fruit and ate it. Then she also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate some too. My God, this is what's crazy. Why didn't Adam? God told Adam not to eat of it. He never told Eve. Eve wasn't around yet. Why didn't he tell her, stop, don't touch that, it's hot. You touch the stove, you touch the fire, you're going to get burned. Stop, don't touch it. But I wonder if he was looking at it and he was desiring it too. As a result, they both understood what they... Oh, I jumped. And when the woman saw the tree, the produce, she gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate some too. As a result, they both understood what they have done. How many times have we done something right and understood what we've done? We all know the other one. Let's stick on the good side. Let's stay on the good side. I come to you today, Lord, just to give you praise. I come today, Lord, just to worship you. I come today with the whole family of God in the midst of South Hadley, Massachusetts, just to lift your name high above every other name, because there's no other name. No other name. I understand I did something good. See, we're too used to looking at all the negative, all the bad stuff. Let's start looking at the good side of everything. What's the good? What's good? What's good? Jesus. I told you what the answer, I told you what the title was. Jesus is the answer for everything. Well, he ain't fixing it right now. We got to be like Saul. We have to wait. Psalms 27:14. Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thy heart. Not your mind, but your heart. Because out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth speaks. Wait, I say, on the Lord. Wait. We don't like waiting. We don't like waiting. We don't like waiting. Well, guess what? Some things are good to wait for. I'll tell you a little story. When I was growing up, we should use this in counseling, marriage counseling. When I was growing up, every girl that I went out with, I was in love with. Because what's the good song say? Be in love with the one you're with, right? But I tell you what, things started getting a little different when I moved here. And there's a few girls that I dated when I was here, and literally I thought they were the ones. I really did. And there's nothing bad about the ones I dated. But they weren't the ones that God wanted for me. And I'll never forget the last girl I was dating. We didn't even have a fight or anything. Just something inside of me said, no. I don't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. And I'll never forget, I come out of her house, I got in my car, I started the car, and I didn't even put it in drive yet. And I said, God, no more. I don't need this no more. I'm done with this hassle. I said, I'm giving you whatever, I want whatever you have in store for me. Not realizing and I waited. I waited. I got anxious. I tried doing it in my own strength. There's a lot of things I tried doing. But I tell you what, waiting on God is better. It's okay to have good, but I want better. And that's in this realm. And you want to know something? What was amazing? As soon as I said that in my heart, it wasn't too long after that, a couple months, that she came about. Not ever realizing that I met her when I was working at the Eastfield Mall doing electrical work there, that I used to see her all the time and never had a clue. God knows how to blind you from the purpose, even though the purpose is right there in front of your eyes. Because He puts you in a situation where He wants you to obey and to wait. And when they heard the voice of God, the voice of the Lord God, as He was walking in the garden during the breeze of the day, the man and his wife concealed themselves from the presence of the Lord God and from the trees of the garden. So the Lord called out to the man, asking him, "Where are you?" I could almost hear God being a little sarcastic right there. "Hey, where are you?" Because He's everywhere. I mean, where can you hide? Where can you hide from the presence of God? Where can you go? David said, if I go to hell, you're there. Where can I go? Especially in the midst of His garden. Oh. See how we think? "I heard your voice in the garden," the man answered, "and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid from you." Who told you you are naked? Who told you? Who told you? Who told you? Who told you you're the down and out? Who told you that you can't do it? Who told you? Who told you that? Who told you? Was it your body telling you that, oh, you can't overcome this because it's too much, it's too hard? Who told you? Who told you? Because it wasn't God. God said, See, this is relating all the way back to, see, it carries on through the whole Bible, all the way up to Saul. Because now he starts blaming, just like Adam started blaming. He's blaming on somebody else for his problems because what he did, because we're going to get back to exactly where the whole thing started out to be. The Lord told, who told you you were naked? Did you eat from the fruit of the tree that I commanded you not to eat? And then we know the rest of the story. She made me do it. He made me do it. Blah, blah, blah. And, you know, the thing keeps going. You can go back to chapter 13, and Saul says the same thing to Samuel. Hey, the people were leaving me. And he ended up with 600, a perfect man. But really, if he would have just waited on the Lord, he would have kept fleecing out the ones, God would have kept fleecing out the ones he didn't want, and he could have maybe ended up with 600. Saul, didn't you ever hear the stories? Didn't you ever hear the stories? What stories? Come on. The Lord told Moses, you tell them when you sit at your table, when you rise up, when you go to sleep, when you're going about your day, you tell them about the stories. You tell them about everything. When you walk through this Jordan, then they see those stones. You tell them what that's all about. You're telling me that Saul never knew about Gideon? I'm telling you, haven't you ever heard the story of Gideon? Wait. Back to 1 Samuel. There's a word I want to get to. Samuel told Saul, you who have acted foolishly. This is 13:13. So you got 1 Samuel 13:13. And this is exactly what Samuel said to Saul. Then Samuel told Saul, you have acted foolishly. You haven't obeyed the commandment of the Lord your God, which he commanded you. For then the Lord would have established your kingdom over Israel forever. But now your kingdom won't be established. The Lord has sought for himself a man after his own heart, and the Lord has appointed him as commander-in-chief. Boy, that puts to shame our commander-in-chief. Over his people, because you didn't obey that which the Lord had commanded you. Now I start thinking, God, what in God's heaven did he command him to do? He went, he did what he told him to do. He did. He went and he waited. He didn't wait out the full day, though. He didn't abide. He didn't wait in the midst of everything what was going on. And then the Lord dropped this into my heart. Mark, here we go. Come on. Mark 12:28. I actually wrote notes this morning. One of the scribes came near and heard the Sadducees arguing with one another and how they saw and how well Jesus answered them. So he asked him, which commandment is the most important of all? So Jesus has got to reply, right? They asked him a question. They asked him a question, so he's going to answer them. But here's the crazy thing. Usually he answers questions with a question. But this question is totally different than any other question they've ever asked him. They asked him something what was very important. They said, what is the most important commandment of all? And this is what Jesus answered. The most important is, hear, O Israel, O Prince of God. I'm going to pause. Think about it. We think it's the rest of what he says, but really the very first thing he tells them to do is, listen, Prince of God. He's calling them what they are. They might not seem what they are, but he's seeing something totally different, and he's telling them what they are. He says, you are a Prince of God, and you're going to rule with me. But there's a way you got to get there. And this is how you're going to get there. The Lord our God is one. Settle it. He is one. He's not 3. He's not 4. He's not 24. He's one. And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart. Why does he go with that one first? Why didn't he go with your soul first? He hits you right where it counts, right in the heart. Because he knows if he can get the heart, he can get the rest of it. Oh, geez. And you must love the Lord our God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. So he's covering every aspect of this natural life. He's telling you, you got to do this. This is how you got to do it. But the second is this. You must love your neighbor as yourself. No other commandment is greater than these. And there's some pretty good commandments after these. Because, man, you can get down to some of them that they come with blessings. And the very first one is, children, obey your parents, no matter the age. And no matter the age of the children, obey your parents, because within that, you'll have long life. And I can sit there and I can hear Brother Willie Hinn when his mother called him to ask for some money. And I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh. That's why I'm going, Mom. And that's why I'm taking my mom out for Christmas. Because she deserves it. She deserves it. You want to know something? Yeah, I'm going to bump you up because you know what? Her and I have been through some very tough times. So I can, because I got the mic. But I'm seriously, God used that vessel to get his word out. And I sat there and I started thinking, Mom, did you ever realize all that time kissing me? Emotions. But I'm telling you, you think about it. Mary, did you know? Did you know? Did you know every time you were holding your child? Monica, every time you were holding one of your boys, you were kissing them, and you were kissing the face of God? That's why the Bible tells us, no man after the flesh. Seriously. How awesome is our God? How awesome is our God? Romans 12:7 says, wait on our ministry. We have to wait on our ministry. See, Saul, he went and he jumped at things. We can go into all the things that he did, what was wrong, which was negative. You can do it. But I don't want to. This is what I wrote this morning. Sometimes God has a divine delay. Sometimes God has a divine delay. Auntie, it took a lot of years before we came here. Divine delay. Because you know why? There wasn't a people ready for it. God was preparing. I can only boast about South Hadley, Massachusetts, and us in this room. God was preparing us when we didn't even realize it. When we thought we were out in the world doing our own thing, God was preparing our hearts. He was preparing us, folks. So there was a God sometimes has a divine delay. One, to see if you will wait for Him. I want it now. I want it now. Remember my dad, his greatest story, he always wanted a nice car. Right? He always wanted a Corvette. And God always kept telling him, nope. And when finally God decided to let him have a Corvette, what's he do? because he was divinely waiting for so long, he decides to buy one what he had to put together, because that's what my father liked to do. He loved to put things together. He was putting together a people, and we didn't even realize he was putting a family together in the midst of all this chaos. So he buys a car, what he had to put together so he could tinker on it. And you know what the greatest thing was? Well, the worst thing about the whole thing was, God gave him the okay to do it. God told him he can do everything he wanted with it, but he didn't even really get to enjoy it. But guess what? I do. I get to enjoy it. You thought I was talking about a car. I'm talking about a people. I'm talking about a family. I get to enjoy you guys. Sometimes it drives me crazy. 99.9% of the time it drives me crazy, but that's where I have to put down my feelings, my thoughts of everything, my fleshly intent and my fleshly everything. I have to do it because I know that this is what God has in store. And all I'm asking is, will you wait? God has a divine delay to see if you will wait for Him. Bottom line is, He wants you to obey. He wants me to obey. Seriously. We have examples. Tons of examples over the 40 years of people who didn't want to delay or wait. Sorry, wrong word. Wait. Because every good chef knows it takes time to make the good meal. And yes, I do like McDonald's. Except for the last time I went. Oh my God. There might be too much flesh in the situation, so the flesh can't boast in the final answer. This whole chapter reminds me of Acts 1. We all remember Acts 1? We all like Acts 1, right? We know what Acts 1 is? Go home and read it. Jesus tells them to go and to wait for the promise. Did he or did he not? Flesh gets involved. Not God, no. That doesn't happen, really? Go read it. Go read what happened. Things weren't in order. It wasn't the way it was supposed to be. So they decided to set somebody involved and to make... Never mind. You know where I'm coming from. Go home and read it. Right down to the point where they cast with lots. Now they're pitting one against another, and that's one thing God don't want nobody to do, is pin one against another. Because they didn't realize that the 12th one, to finish out that, he was still out killing Christians. We don't think so? Read the book. See, we don't read the book, and I'm going to say it again. We don't read the book because then we have to be responsible for the book. But I say this, read the book. Enjoy the book. Fall in love with the book. Fall in love with the God of the book. Because He's the only thing, Jesus is the answer. He's the answer. You know what, Ian? Jesus is the answer to your bad back. You don't think so? I do. You know how I know? I had a bad back. And you know what the crazy thing about the whole thing was? Literally, somebody, not even a Christian, said to me, you know what the problem is? You're taking on everybody else's problems where you shouldn't need to take on anybody else's problems. And you know what? As soon as I said into my heart, you know what? I ain't doing this no more. Guess what? The bad back went away. It can't be that simple. It's as simple as, Jesus, you're the answer. There was something different this time around. See, in Paul's day, he did something what he wasn't supposed to do, and he got cut off. These people went in and did something that they shouldn't have done, and God didn't cut them off. Go figure. Go figure. But this time it was different. He, Jesus, doesn't cut them off from getting the promise. He puts it inside of us so that we can be found pleasing to Him that saves us. Jesus, you're the answer. Mom? Jesus is the answer. I want to thank you very much for instilling everything that I have, you and Dad, inside of me, that I can put it into my kids so that they can put it in the next kid. You're going to Dale's house and you're seeing another great grandchild being born. That's called the blessing of God. You don't think so? Read the Bible. Read the Bible. You know what the Bible says? The blessing, our blessing is our kids. And our inheritance, our grandkids and our great-grandkids. Blessed are those who have them. You're blessed. We are blessed. I'm not boasting, but we have a blessed family. Look around.